Hi, I'm Jeanette Roche. This is Bridge City News. Here are some of today's top stories. Canada's beloved snowbirds being grounded until the 2030s due to aging and unsafe equipment. And first it was hantavirus, now the World Health Organization declares yet another public health emergency of global concern. This time it's Ebola virus. Plus, Canadian mushroom growers, the latest target of tariffs.
Your nation. Your province. Your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News with Jeanette Roche.
Thanks for joining us. Some sad news today in Canadian military aviation. The Canadian Forces Snowbirds team is being grounded until the early 2030s, but not for financial reasons. The Tudor jets used by the team need to be replaced. The federal government says the modern CT-157 Siskin II aircraft will take over for the CT-114 Tudor jets. The announcement was made Tuesday at the team's home base, 15-wing Moose Jaw in Saskatchewan.
This is a significant moment, and it is an emotional one because of the extraordinary connection that this team has built with Canadians over more than 5.5 decades. This decision was not taken lightly. The Royal Canadian Air Force is modernizing at a pace and scale not seen since the Second World War. This transformation is essential to ensure we are ready to defend Canada's sovereignty and remain a trusted, capable, and credible partner in an increasingly complex and contested global environment. While the retirement of the CT-114 Tudor brings understandable emotion, I encourage all Canadians to see the upcoming 2026 season for what it truly is, a chance to celebrate.
Political commentator with the Toronto Sun and BCN contributor Brian Lilly says he's sad to see the snowbirds grounded until next decade, but adds the replacement of jets is long overdue.
Government has been dragging its feet on getting replacements. There was a horrible accident a couple of years ago. There were calls for replacements then. Nothing happened. Well, National Defense Minister David McGuinty has now announced that, yes, they will be getting replacements. New jets are going to be ordered, but that won't happen until early 2030s. We don't know for sure when. These things are always fluid, but we're going to see a 4 to 5 year span at the least where the snowbirds are not in operation.
In my full interview with Brian Lilly, he also weighs in on the recent memorandum of understanding signed between Alberta and Ottawa. Lilly says he has concerns whether this MOU will actually move things forward towards a West Coast pipeline in a timely manner. That full interview is coming up in the second half of our show. And with Ottawa investing billions into beefing up Canada's defense infrastructure, Alberta is getting in on the action. The province announced a $21 million investment to launch the Defense Program, which stands for the Dual Use Ecosystem for Future Engineering, National Defense and Sovereignty. It's led by the University of Alberta. The program will connect Alberta companies, universities, and the Canadian Armed Forces so defense technologies can be tested, certified, and brought to market faster.
We have world-class talent here. We have world-class researchers here. We have world-class facilities here, including the NanoFab Lab and many other different labs across this campus. And many of the research projects underway here either have direct military applications or they have obvious dual use for military and civilian applications. And that means that we have the opportunity to play a significant role here in Alberta in shaping the future of defense research and technological commercialization.
By providing access to state-of-the-art facilities, we are helping local businesses test and refine their products, while giving our students hands-on training with the latest technology. This initiative helps Canada become more self-reliant, allowing us to develop our own solutions rather than relying on international suppliers.
The government says over 10 years, the Defense Program will support more than 8,000 jobs, over 200 Alberta companies, and generate more than $7 billion in GDP growth. The federal government is advising Canadians not to travel to the part of the Democratic Republic of Congo hit by a rare type of Ebola. The World Health Organization's Director General says he's concerned about the scale and spread, calling it an epidemic.
Beyond the confirmed cases, There are more than 500 suspected cases and 130 suspected deaths.
There are reports that an American doctor is among the more than 500 suspected cases so far. This particular type of Ebola has no vaccines or treatments, and the WHO has declared it a public health emergency of international concern. The United States has slapped countervailing duties on fresh mushrooms grown in Canada following a U.S. Department of Commerce investigation. An investigation the Canadian industry calls deeply flawed. We get more from Kelly Geraldine Malone with the Canadian Press.
The change was posted in the Federal Register May 18th, and it means most fresh mushrooms are being slapped with tariffs of 2.84%. Two companies are being hit with different duties. Farmers' Fresh Mushrooms are hit with a 4.97% tariff, and Champs Fresh Farms are hit with a tariff of 1.62%. Separate anti-dumping duties are also expected to be added later this month. The preliminary commerce investigation said Canadian mushroom producers received unfair government subsidies. Mushrooms Canada said last week the Canadian growers haven't engaged in unfair trade practices and producers are not receiving special treatment. They say the Commerce Department's investigation and its basis for the tariffs appears to be mainstream agricultural tax treatment. That includes provincial sales tax exemptions available to farmers generally. They say treating broad-based agricultural tax measures as unfair is contrary to common sense and unfairly penalizes Canadian mushroom growers for participating in programs available across the agricultural sector in any number of countries. These countervailing duties are not directly connected to U.S. President Donald Trump's massive tariff agenda, which includes 232 tariffs on goods like steel, aluminum, automobiles, and cabinetry.
And while we're discussing Canada-U.S. trade, you'll learn a lot about how the United States views Canada in the latest episode of Leaders on the Frontier. David Lease, the president and CEO of the Frontier Centre for Public Policy Research, sits down for a candid interview with U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra. One issue they discuss is Prime Minister Carney's use of the word rupture to describe trade tensions.
The Prime Minister is not talking about rupturing the relationship moving forward. As I understand what the Prime Minister has said, he has said that the relationship has been ruptured, which is a very, very different statement. As Americans, we don't believe that the relationship has been ruptured, but if Canada believes that the relationship is ruptured, that's how they'll approach moving forward. We don't. We believe we still have a very strong and viable relationship with Canada, but we recognize we have a partner now that doesn't necessarily see the world the same way that we do.
You can catch the full interview tonight at midnight Mountain Time on Miracle Channel or online at returntoreason.com/frontier. It's also available on the Leaders on the Frontier YouTube page. In other news, nobody likes closing time, so Ontario plans to allow licensed restaurants and bars to serve alcohol until 4 a.m. during the upcoming FIFA World Cup. Last call for alcohol service in Ontario is typically 2 in the morning, but the province has made temporary changes in the past for major sporting events. Toronto is set to host 6 games starting June 12th, and the province says the extended hours will apply from June 11th through July 19th. Ontario's government-owned liquor stores will also have extended hours at 27 locations in the Toronto area and Ottawa. Hundreds of peace activists, including Jews and Druze, Muslims and Christians alike, marched in Jerusalem's Old City Monday, just days after thousands of Israeli ultranationalists clashed with Palestinian residents during the annual Jerusalem Days Flag Parade. This is the 4th year the Interfaith March has been held as an alternative to the Nationalist Flag March, which has become increasingly violent.
For me, it's very important to show to the public that we are together, that we are many people who believe in peace, who believe in coexistence, who believe in the sanctity of life, and who are ready to show this in public and to defend all these values that are so important today.
צריך לדעת שכל העולם שמלחמות לא מביאות שום ביטחון ושום דבר. במלחמה אין מנצחים, רק מפסידים. צריך ללכת כולנו לשלום והאגו לשים הצידה וללכת בדרך שנתן לנו אלוהים, בדרך של הצדק החברתי, בצדק בעולם, ונגיע כולנו לשלום.
Israeli shopkeepers came out of their establishments and congratulated the marchers for the initiative as passing drivers honked their horns in support. Closer to home, Alta Paramedic Health, formerly Emergency Health Services Alberta, is reacting to the City of Lethbridge's decision to not cover extra costs of an integrated EMS contract. City Council voted it down last Tuesday, saying the new contract conditions would have a significant financial impact on taxpayers. The official position was to reject the contract proposal, but leave the door open for further negotiations to maintain integrated fire and EMS service. In response, Alta Paramedic Health has provided BCN with a statement saying Lethbridge has until May 31st to advise them of their decision, and should they choose not to enter into a sole source agreement, ground ambulance services in Lethbridge will be included in the request for expression of interest and qualification process, which the City of Lethbridge is welcome to participate in. They say they will work with the city to ensure continuity of ground ambulance throughout the process. The current contract for integrated fire and EMS in Lethbridge expires on September 30th. Also happening in our city, a joint regional investment is helping to develop a tourism corridor along Highway 3. $120,000 will go toward enhancing the connection from Crow's Nest Pass to Medicine Hat with newly planned itineraries. The funding comes from the province's Northern and Regional Economic Development Program. The Highway 3 corridor will feature experiences in agritourism, culinary offerings, outdoor recreation, and cultural attractions, including Indigenous tourist experiences. The corridor is inspired by British Columbia's Highway 3 corridor program and is built on the success from other past initiatives like the Highway 3 Ale Trail and Savor Alberta's South.
What's really nice is now we will have kind of one spot to a website that we can find everything on, whether that is itineraries. We're hoping to get 3, 5, and 7-day itineraries that will showcase our region at its best, which of course we know adds to our economic impact, which is fabulous. This is a great way for us to build on the amazing experiences, the current businesses we have, the attractions, and everything that kind of happens in between all of our regions, and that's really exciting for us. We know that individually, each of these communities has really great things, but because of our limited budgets and sizes, and we are actually now able to focus on expanding those and talking about them more through marketing opportunities, collaborations, and really getting ourselves on the map to kind of compete with those larger markets.
Tourism Lethbridge, alongside other regional tourism organizations, will work to complete the framework by March of 2027. And speaking of the Highway 3 corridor, Southern Albertans will have another reason to visit Coaldale. The town is starting a new farmers market during the summer season. It's been being initiated to celebrate the very best of Southern Alberta through local growers, makers, bakers, artisans, and entrepreneurs. Colleen Van Relty with the Coaldale Chamber of Commerce says the Coaldale Farmers Market is gaining strong momentum through partnerships with local businesses, industry leaders, and community organizations.
The Coaldale Chamber of Commerce is hosting a farmers market that's taking place this summer, and we are excited to invite all our vendors within our community to celebrate small business, agriculture, everything that makes Southern Alberta people unique. We are very pleased that we have local community businesses who are going to partake and partner with us. McCain's Foods has come on board as our title sponsored. As for the people that are coming to participate, we're looking for vendors, we're looking for food trucks, people who are willing to bake goods, create crafts, sell their wares, and get their product out to market. Whether you live here in Coaldale, in other smaller communities throughout Southern Alberta, Lethbridge, Raymond, Picture Butte, we are here for you. We want you to come and vend at our market. We're looking for you to sell your wares. We hope hope to be fairly significant by bringing a lot of people to showcase our town, to highlight all the various amenities that we have in the town of Coaldale.
The Coaldale Chamber Farmers Market will take place every other Thursday starting June 25th from 3 till 8 p.m. at the Civic Plaza. To learn more about the market, visit coaldalefarmersmarket.com. In sports, fans of the Montreal Canadiens are still celebrating after the Habs advanced to the NHL's Eastern Conference Final Monday with a Game 7, 3-2 overtime win over Buffalo. Alex Newhook scored the OT winner.
It's a crazy feeling, a lot of emotion. Obviously, it was a war all series long, and for it to end up being Game 7 in overtime, sometimes it just takes one shot, and coming across the line, you just thought, there was a shot opportunity. So great to see it find the back of the net, and there's no better feeling celebrating with your teammates there after a win like that.
Like a Game 7 for me, it's about finding ways. And I thought we did that tonight. It was by no means was that like our best game, but we had good pockets throughout that game, and we found a way to win.
It was a great play by Jakey, dishing it over to Nui, and good net drive there, and I think he just shot it through traffic, which was it was a good shot. Yeah, they're a really good team. They're fast, they're quick. They're going to be kind of like Buffalo. They like to move the puck. They like rush games. I'm sure we're going to watch some video in the next 24 hours and move on. So enjoy this for tonight and then move on tomorrow.
Game 1 of the Eastern Final between Montreal and Carolina begins on Thursday. Game 1 of the Western Final begins between Colorado and Vegas, starts on Wednesday.
I'm Sean Haney with RealAgriculture.com. The North American cash cattle market is ignoring outside trade volatility and moving sharply higher. In last week's beef market update with Ann Wasco, the Gateway Livestock Exchange on RealAgriculture.com, she described the market activity as wild and woolly, with prices surging despite choppy futures and headlines out of Brazil and China. In the U.S., fed cattle prices climbed up to $9 higher, hitting $265 live in the South. Alberta markets followed that exact pace, with dress sales hitting a staggering $580 delivered. It is a clear reminder that when numbers are this tight, cash is king. Driving the bullish outlook is a sharp drop in Canadian carcass weights as feedlots transition into lighter calf-fed cattle. While wholesale cutout values are lagging behind, squeezing packer margins, consumer demand for high-quality beef remains incredibly resilient, proving that buyers are still willing to show up with their money. For Bridge City News, I'm Sean Haney with RealAgriculture.com.
Higher gas prices, driven mainly by the war in Iran, pushed the annual inflation rate to 2.8% in April. Statistics Canada says it is the fastest pace of price hikes in almost 2 years. The cost of gasoline was 28.6% higher year over year last month as a conflict in the Middle East disrupted global oil shipments, sending costs soaring at the gas pumps. April also marked the switch to more expensive summer gasoline blends at gas stations in Canada. A government panel has concluded that an energy deal with Quebec is not good enough for Newfoundland and Labrador. The Canadian press is reporting through a source that the panel has concluded the agreement does not give Newfoundland and Labrador sufficient power, which could limit energy-hungry sectors such as mining and hamper long-term economic growth. The report, expected to be released tomorrow, features a three-person panel appointed by the Newfoundland and Labrador government. It outlines several concerns with the non-binding framework agreement to share power from Labrador, which was signed by the province's hydroelectric utilities in 2024. And now here's a look at today's markets.
The TSX was down 92 to 33,741. The Dow was down 322 to 49,364. The S&P 500 was down 49 to 7,354. And the Nasdaq was down 220 to 25,870. West Texas Intermediate oil was down 33 cents to 104.05 US per barrel. Natural gas was up 9 cents to 3.11 US. Gold was down 84.81 to 44.8213 US an ounce, and silver was down 3.97 to 73.69 US an ounce. Feed wheat is at $8.90 per bushel. Barley is at $7.10. Canola is at $17.15, and corn is at $7.82 per bushel. Live cattle June contract was up $1.18 to $254.55. Feeder cattle were up 78 cents to $369.58. Lean hogs June contract was down 60 cents to $97.93, and the Canadian dollar was down over the past 24 hours and currently sits at $72.80 US.
Recapping one of today's top stories, the Public Health Agency of Canada says it's assessing the importation risk of Ebola as Canada gets set to host its first World Cup game next month. The federal government is advising Canadians not to travel to a province hit by a rare type of Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which has no cure. So far, 130 deaths have been reported, along with 500 suspected cases of the virus. Ottawa and Alberta has recently signed Memorandum of Understanding, has many people hopeful that a West Coast pipeline will be built. But our political commentator Brian Lilly is concerned about whether things will come to fruition anytime soon. He adds that BC Premier David Eby is already raising concerns about Alberta having a lower industrial carbon tax, and that other premiers could likely ask for the same. That and much more in my interview with Brian Lilly coming up next. Also, when you see news happening in your community, be sure to send us an email at info@bridgecitynews.ca. You can also visit our website or our YouTube channel anytime to check out more of our content as well as our poll questions.